I will start with the topic that I feel like has hugely affected a lot of people, which is work. So I'm wondering, Marie, since you work in recruitment, I'm sure you have heard many stories about how people have been affected by the pandemic, and then I suppose how that in turn then has kind of affected people's mental health. So I don't know if there's any, like obviously maybe not personal stories, but any kind of general gist of feelings and experiences that you've been hearing here in Vancouver within the Irish community.
So obviously there's been huge market changes. I think in March, like the day before Paddy's Day, is when everybody started working from home. And that had a huge backlash in loads of different industries and companies as a whole, but even adjusting to working from home. So even in March and April, we at work were like quiet or quieter than we normally would be. But most of that time was dealing with people, both clients and candidates, um, like having general anxiety conversations, from everything of like losing jobs or going into the unknown. I think that kind of helped, like everybody's anxieties, regardless what level, if you were a receptionist or if you were a director of a company, I think everybody's been affected in different ways. A lot of different things have come up in talking to different people. Obviously, I'm also part of Darkness into Light, so we've been pushing out a lot of like mental health, well-being through the community and the social media channels and everything. Personal stories that have come out without giving away too many details, mainly the financial like impact of COVID-19. Living here, being able to like afford rent or mortgages, or if you had kids, there was a lot of like anxiety of like, okay, I've just lost my job, don't know if it's going to be temporary or permanent, and what's next, because that $2,000 from the government is only going to last for a certain time. And people are now more worried that the 13-week short term where you could get laid off and you had 13 weeks, or then it went to 16 weeks, that now will be coming to an end at the end of this month. So it's for those people who are probably not going to be getting CERB anymore. What's the alternative? So I think you'll see another wave of anxiety as we're going into the fall and the sun isn't shining as much.
No, that's great, like to hear your insight. And like, I know myself, I've been working from home now for 5 months, and it is mad, like not seeing colleagues that you'd see every day in the office. Like it is an adjustment, but I'm so grateful that I'm still working. I know, Alison, you've had a huge change in environment with regards to work.
Yeah.
And juggling a family at the same time.
Yeah, so like you, I've been working at home for 5 months now, and I did actually change jobs. I'm one of the few people that changed jobs during the pandemic. So I left a job at the end of June, and I'm starting in have started in a new job, but I have yet to go to that office. I simply went one day to pick up my laptop, meet my new boss. The whole interview process happened over Zoom, so that was extremely weird and a little bit uncomfortable, but maybe it went in my favor because I was a little bit more relaxed about the actual interview process, and just thought, well, let's go with this and see what happens. So yeah, I'm now adjusting to a new job, a whole new group of people that I'm working with, and meeting them for the first time over Zoom. And I don't know when we're going to return to the office. I think it's several months away. I've also been at home with our two children, both at elementary school. So that's been a huge adjust. School when they reopened. When was that? I think it was early June. So they were just back for, one of them was back for 2 days a week and the other one was back for 1 day a week. So it wasn't a huge amount of time, but we felt just for their own personal benefit and getting back into the school environment, starting to see people again, it would be hugely beneficial to do that despite the risks.
Yeah, and I know from myself chatting to some work colleagues, hearing their stories and seeing the children appear on Zoom when uh, we're in like conference calls and meetings, and I can't imagine how difficult it is juggling working from home and parenting and homeschooling and trying to give 100% to both.
It was a huge adjustment. I don't think I've successfully given 100% to any of those things in the last 5 months. I've tried my best, and there have been occasions where, you know, our kids needed me and I've been on a conference call and just had to go on mute and sort that out. But in my experience, both employers that I've had over the last 5 months have been very good about those types of things. Many of them are in the same position themselves. So there is a little bit of wriggle room there for us all to kind of deal with family issues and get to the work as and when we can.
That's great, yeah, to have that flexibility. And I don't know, I find it like really like personable when I see someone's kids in the background, like I'm getting to know my colleagues even more.
That's right, yeah. I think we all have an opportunity here. We've all proven that we can work from home, and we have an opportunity to open up that dialogue with our employers whenever things do return to normal, to say, you know what, it might be good for me to work from home 1 day a week, you know? And I think that sort of will help a lot of us with that work-life balance that we sometimes struggle with, and help alleviate some of those pressures, stresses, and, you know, all the anxiety that you sometimes find you have whenever you're commuting every day, working long hours at the office. You know, it is easier when you're at home. You can be at the desk at 9 o'clock, you don't have that commute, and, you know, you can have a proper lunch and, you know, log off at 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm kind of at that stage with my employer now where they're discussing how would you feel about coming back to work? And we basically kind of have to like rate it. And I'm really struggling with, I suppose I have a level of guilt. God, that Catholic guilt never leaves us. Of, I suppose, looking at people who have really tough situations, like parents who are managing kids at home, and there's still that uncertainty about, are they definitely going to go back to school? Is that all going to be okay? Any people who are vulnerable with their own health problems, or people that live with people who are vulnerable. And there's me just going, I don't really want to. And I'm kind of having that level of guilt, but at the same time, it's probably just me downplaying that the reasons why I don't want to is because of my mental health, because, you know, randomly for no reason I can have an anxiety attack on a bus. Yeah. So I'm just like, if I have a choice of working from home, even some of the time, yeah, I should fight for myself to do that, but I find that difficult to be like, no, I have my own reasons.
Yeah.
But I feel like I compare it to everyone else and I say, oh no, like everyone else has it worse and they have more important reasons to stay working from home. So I kind of find that really difficult to fight for mental health as a genuine enough reason.
Yeah, I think we're kind of a bit conditioned to do that, like, and automatically compare ourselves to other people, or being like put yourself in other people's shoes. But at the end of the day, like, if you prefer working from home and like you feel like you're more productive and you are more productive, you don't need to validate that by saying, well, it's because of my mental health or it's because of this. If you feel like you're doing better, like, that's enough of a reason to want to stay at home. You know, I think even saying I do have anxiety or depression or other mental health, like, that's you just validating why you want to stay at home. It's okay to just work from home if that's what you're doing, if that's what the options are. I mean, I think people are far more productive by working at home. People's work-life balance is a lot better. Like, you're clocking off and you clock off. You don't have to transit home for 20, 30 minutes, you know. That's an extra hour in the day you get to have to yourself, you know. So, I mean, and
thanks, Dave.
Want to do it.